Hey guys, happy Friday. Today's Friday, November 15th. I can't believe November is halfway over 2019. Super excited to be back. We took a couple days off from the TED Show. And I'm with Kurt Gies. See, I got it right. Kurt Gies. Very excited to talk about Challenge 22, to talk about American Legion, to talk about all the cool stuff that Kurt has going on this weekend, especially, but all the way till December 31st. So give us a thumbs up, let us know you can hear us and see us. That's always the most important thing. And then like I told Kurt, sometimes they don't give us a thumbs up and we just go with the flow, Kurt.
There you go.
But we were introduced by Miss Patel, Dr. Patel. I love her. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Another vet who was on the show recently. So welcome. Tell us a little bit about you. That's what they like to hear. They like to know what makes Kurt tick and how he got to this place to be on the TED Show.
Oh, very good. Well, I'm a retired naval officer. I spent a total of 25 years as a construction engineer for the Navy. So I spent a total of 37 days at sea. So I think they're called ships. I know they're painted gray.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was. If you've ever heard of the Seabees, I was one of those.
Yes.
But I retired in 2007. I actually joined the military because of the American Legion sponsors a thing called Boys State, and they sent me off to Tallahassee for a week when I was a junior in high school, and I learned about our government. I learned about serving your country, and so as a result of that, I became a member of the military. And then when I retired, I realized I was eligible for the American Legion, which you really only need to serve one day of active duty. And
what is the American Legion? I've had people on before. I've had people come talk about VFW. I've never asked, what is that?
Well, the American Legion is the largest wartime veterans organization in the world.
Wow.
We were founded 100 years ago in 1919. Actually, our first meeting was in Paris, France. And the reason for it was that after World War I, our guys were stuck over in Europe because there was no jobs for them here. There was no VA system set up to take care of the wounded and those that were injured. So they felt that they needed an organization of veterans serving veterans, but to engage the community to solve veteran problems. And as a result, the VA system was developed to provide health care. In 1943, our national commander actually wrote the GI Bill on the back of a napkin in a hotel in Washington, D.C., and was able to get that legislation passed. And so everything that's related to the GI Bill, whether it's VA loans or it's the student helping with tuition, all those things are available to veterans because of the American Legion.
Fascinating. See, I did not know that. We need to have a whole American Legion history lesson on the TED Show at some point, because I love that. Because I think people don't they don't know necessarily what the history is. They just, oh look, Ali Flores, way to go, Captain Kurt Gies. I think people don't necessarily know what's going on when vets get out, and we talk about this on the show a lot. We talk about veteran services and acclimating back into society once you're out, and the benefits, and sometimes the challenges to get the benefits that you really need and deserve, in my opinion. So tell us a little bit about you post that. You have a family.
I do. I'm married to a lovely bride of 3 years now. It's my second marriage, and so I have 2 children of my own, and I have 3 stepchildren. That we got the classic blended family, and things are going great out in Winter Garden, Florida.
Florida. All right, but you're obviously passionate about American Legion. Challenge 22, I want you to explain that. We've had people on that talk about 22. Every time I hear that number, it just drives me crazy. Talk a little bit about Challenge 22. Why is the number 22 significant? Mm-hmm. And then you have an event coming up tomorrow.
We do, tomorrow. So 3 years ago, I had just joined the Legion. I was the post chaplain, and I got an email saying, "Hey, get together with some folks because September is Suicide Awareness Month, and we have 22 vets a day committing suicide." And my first reaction was, "What are you talking about? I mean, I'm a retired military officer. I knew nothing about this." So I did some research on it and found out that it was actually true. But unfortunately, I was so new to the area, I didn't know anybody to get together. So I went out and walked by myself. And I walked up and down the West Orange Trail, and I said, you know what, next year I'm not walking alone. And fast forward a year, a young Marine joined our unit, our post. Her name is Ashley Moyer. She just recently got married, so I think it's Belay now. But
hey, Ashley.
Yeah, hey, Ashley. Anyways, she said that she was part of a group that does the 22 with 22 for 22. And what that was is started out with 22 veterans getting together. They would walk 22 kilometers, which is about 14 miles. And then they would do it with a 22 kilogram ruck on their back, which is 50 pounds.
That's the ruck. Okay, I meant to ask you
Yes.
what a ruck is.
So a ruck is what we carry into the field when you go out and deploy and you're gone for a long period of time. Everything in your life is on your back, and the ruck can range anywhere from 50 to sometimes over 100 pounds, depending on how long you're going for. And so the idea is that we do these. They do these walks in combat boots and shorts, and it's a day for veterans to kind of connect. By the time you're done, you're exhausted. So if you have something going on, you tend to talk a little bit more about it. Well, I told Ashley, I said, we want to engage the community, and I don't think they're going to walk 22 kilometers with a 22 kilogram ruck, but why don't we do something smaller? And so we came up with the Challenge 22 2.2 mile ruck walk, where the community can join the veterans and help us raise awareness. And so the first year we had about 150 people that walked with us. Last year we had over 400 that walked with us, and this year we're hoping to have over 1,000.
Okay, so how can people still sign up for the walk, and then tell us
Absolutely.
about the logistics of the walk?
Okay, so it's real simple. You can just show up, but if you can go to our website tonight, and it's www.wgal63.org, short for Winter Garden American Legion 63.org. There's a button on there for the Challenge 22. If you just register through our Eventbrite, it helps, because if you don't register there, you're going to have to register when you get to the event. And again, it's free, but we start at 11 a.m. sharp. So if you can get there a little bit early, that would be great. The idea is that the first hour is our what we call an Americanism ceremony. We've got Val Demings coming in to be our guest speaker, Representative David Smith, and some other folks. We want to talk about the challenge of 22 vets a day taking their lives due to post-traumatic stress, but that's a tough subject to talk about, so we don't talk about it all day. We gradually transition to, by the end of the hour, we're going to celebrate a birthday. One of the newest members of my post is having his birthday the next day. So Gilbert Wagenheim served in 1943 in the Battle of the Bulge with General George Patton, and he'd be turning 98 years old.
Wow.
And he's going to walk with us.
That's so cool.
So if Gilbert can come out and walk, you can come out and walk. And then, so we do the walk from 12 until about 1 down the West Orange Trail. We come back, and then from about 1 to 2, we'll celebrate our Vietnam veterans. Many people don't know that of the 22 a day, about 55% of the vets committing suicide are Vietnam veterans.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and you think about it, they went to a war they didn't want to go to because they were drafted, and then they came home to a country that was not grateful, and really didn't get the help they needed. And now they're older, and their spouses passed away, or they're just done. And so and then secondly, honor them with a 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War pin. And then from 2 o'clock on, we've got what we call the Celebration of Veterans and Music Festival. We've got 3 live bands in. We're closing down a street in Winter Garden.
This is all in the same spot, right?
All in the same spot, right outside the Crooked Can on Central Avenue.
That's awesome.
The whole street's been shut down. We'll have a stage right there in the middle of the street, so you won't be able to miss it. But we've got Sean Holcomb coming in. He's a country national artist from the local area. And he's got a special guest that he's going to have be playing with him. I reached out to, if you're familiar with Birthday, WJRR sponsors that, and the band Godsmack was the headliner. And in their interview, they talked about how they're doing some work for the mental health awareness of the entertainment industry. Amy Winehouse passed away, committed suicide. So they wanted to do something from that perspective. So I just reached out to them. Took about 6 months to get through, and persistence paid off, because their bass guitarist, Robbie Merrill, will be joining us, and he's going to actually get up on stage and jam with Sean Holcomb.
So cool.
And in fact, Sean sent him a bunch of his songs, and Robbie has been practicing diligently. It's kind of cool. He's sending me notes and saying, "Hey, I've been working on my country and western.
So
I haven't played in 30 years."
That's so cool.
So then we got the Downs Brothers Band coming in after them, and then and after the sun goes down, we've got a band called Switch, which is an 80s band. Mm-hmm. So it should be a lot of fun. The weather's going to be, hopefully better than it is today, but it's supposed to be a little cooler, so dress warmly. But in addition to that, the Patriot Guard Riders, which is a group that motorcycle club that supports veterans and causes, they are bringing in the Global War on Terrorism and the Vietnam Memorial Walls, and we're going to set those up in our post so that people can go over. And if you've never been to Washington, D.C. to be able to see these things, this is your chance to actually go in, find somebody that you knew. We have the computer set up. You can go to the section and panel and see their name on the wall.
It's so powerful. I have not seen it. I've just watched documentaries and people who go, and then you find somebody you knew if you haven't visited. It's very emotional. It's very powerful to see the names on the wall because of this. That's the ultimate sacrifice.
It is,
for sure.
And you know, we don't ever want to forget those guys and girls who gave that ultimate sacrifice. You know, the event is 100% free. You know, we want as many people to come out and be part of this. Our veterans will have a special way of recognizing that we're gonna have some kind of a wristband. It'll be either red or camouflage. So if you see one of those guys or girls wearing it, just get up and strike up a conversation with them.
Thank you.
Yep. We've got some vendors that are coming out that are actually doing work directly for veterans as a result of our event last year. You know, I was always, you know, we're raising money for awareness, and I'm an action guy. Awareness is great, but if you're not solving the problem, you know, it's
I can't believe that about you.
Yeah. So I get a call, and there's a group that is recently trained in a new protocol called RTM, which is short for the Reconciliation of Traumatic Memories. And what they're doing is in 3 to 5 90-minute sessions where the veteran doesn't have to talk about what happened, they don't have to take any drugs. They're going from a 9 or 10 on the negative emotional scale down to a 0 or 1.
Wow.
One guy came in, he did 2 sessions on a Wednesday. Now, he hadn't slept more than 2 hours a night for 8 years. Suffered from nightmares and trauma that he experienced. Was on 6 different psychotic medications from the VA at the highest dosage possible. Came in on the next day and said, I don't know what you guys did to me, but I slept 9 hours last night.
Wow.
And you know, another guy who's permanent and totally disabled with post-traumatic stress receives a check every month for $3,600 from the VA. Went through this protocol, says I don't have it anymore. I don't want to be stigmatized with PTS. So he went back to the VA and said, take my rating away.
Wow.
They don't know what to do with him because they never had anybody come to him. So, and what's really cool about it is they're seeing a 90% success rate with people going through this protocol.
And they'll be there tomorrow?
They'll have a group out there that's going to be presenting and showing them how that process is done.
That gave me chills.
It's a very, very simple process. I've watched it done. Anybody can actually do it, and it works for all trauma. You know, they're working with the survivors of the Parkland High School down in South Florida. So a couple of the girls actually committed suicide on the 1-year anniversary. The Pulse nightclub, folks that were involved in that. So any type of trauma, whether you're a first responder or you suffer from child sexual abuse or military sexual trauma, whatever it may be. In fact, they're working with people that are professional athletes that get hit with a baseball and can't get back in the box.
Wow.
They run through this protocol and it clears the trauma and it allows the brain to process, you know, what happened. Just doesn't bother you anymore.
I'm fascinated by that. I'd love to have them come on the show.
Yeah, no, I can introduce you to them.
I
They're
love
super
that
people,
because
and right now they're free. They're doing, you know, what they're doing is they're treating our vets for free. And so what we want to do, our goal this year is to raise $100,000. And so if you want to help out, go to our website, www.wgal63.org, and just click on the donate button. And if you can give us $100 or $1,000, whatever it may be, but those funds will go directly towards organizations like the folks doing the RTM that are seeing real life results.
Right.
I mean, another group, Canine Line, they've got a service dog now that can identify when a soldier's going to have a seizure up to an hour before it happens. A friend of his had a traumatic brain injury in Afghanistan. He's isolated to home because he never knows when he's going to have the seizures. Well, this dog will now let him know. So now and the way they do it is they pick up the scent, the chemical changes in the brain.
Isn't that amazing?
So this guy can go out to grocery shopping, he can go to the movies, he can do whatever, because he knows when he has to put himself in a safe place.
Wow.
So the likelihood of him ending his life has just gone from a very high percentage to almost nothing now.
So like you said, the awareness is so important because when we talk about, we've had many shows about 22, that number 22, and the awareness is one thing, but like you said, the action is so important. That's why the fundraising part is also incredibly important because programs like this, I mean, everybody has to be able to get the protocol. We want to get it out to as different protocols, different options out to as many vets as possible because they can't get some of this at the VA. They can't get it under regular benefits. Sometimes it's a challenge for them.
Well, and you talk about the VA. The VA is a great system. It's government health care and you know, it has its challenges like anything else. But the big issue with mental health for the VA is that somewhere in the process in the last couple of years, within the veteran community, it became a known fact. If you tell them you're suffering from any kind of mental health issue, the next step was to take away your Second Amendment rights. So when I go to my VA appointment, the first question they ask me, have you thought about hurting yourself?
Yep.
And I haven't, but I almost thought about what would happen to me if I said yes.
Right.
And I think that they fixed that, but in the veteran community, there's just this distrust. Now, what's the big deal? If somebody's suffering, you want to take the way of harming themselves. Well, you may have somebody who's just barely suffering right now and hasn't gotten to that point of being suicidal, but he's a cop.
Right.
Or he's a security guy.
Yeah.
Or he carries a concealed weapon.
That's not.
You think he's going to answer that question?
No.
Honestly? No.
And then he's going to suffer in silence because of it.
So this is being done outside the VA. They can go get treated.
Good.
If they get cured, and their rating with the VA is all between them and their doctor, and we just want them to get cured.
I agree. I've heard that. And that's also why, as a civilian trying to get involved, trying to raise funds and awareness, veterans they trust other veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that interesting thing where they have to overcome that here, which is why we talk about assimilating back into civilian life a lot. It's not easy. You don't trust. You had people who would lay down their lives for you, and you would do the same for them. And then you come out into the big bad world, which is the regular sector of life, and it's not the same. People are generally not like that. You're not in that same situation. So of course, people don't act that way. So it's a challenge for our veterans. And I love to make it as easy for them as we possibly can, which is things like what Kurt is doing, what American Legion is doing, what Challenge 22. Now that I know what Ruck means, I had no idea, which is really cool. But go out and support them, even if you don't want to wear the Ruck.
Oh yeah, no, wear some patriotic colors, come out and celebrate veterans, have a great time. We've got the Crooked Can Brewery's going to have their product available for everybody right there on the street. We've got a couple vendors coming in and they're selling burgers and Italian sausage, whatever it may be. It's there for you. The funds that we raise, 100% of it goes to serving veterans causes, and we have an actual nonprofit within the American Legion called Project Vet Relief, and its sole mission is to work with veterans that are in time of need. And so we're just expanding it and trying to help and get into the suicide prevention initiative area and do whatever we can. One of the biggest honors for me is when somebody turns to me and says, "Thank you for your service." Some vets blow it off. I don't. I think it's extremely important because I look at what happened. A complete stranger in our culture walked up to a complete stranger, stuck out their hand, and had a conversation.
Yeah.
For them to do that is huge. That tells me that they went outside their comfort zone to do that.
Right.
Because they just don't, a lot of people just don't know what else to do.
Right.
So this is an opportunity to come out, thank these guys and girls for their service, maybe open up your wallet and checkbook and write some some money to a very good cause. Because it's a great way to get back, and it is a great way to say thank you for your service.
I love it. All right, so WGAL63.org.
Correct, that's the website.
And we'll share that, WGAL63.org. You can go register, you can get more information. I tagged the event in the post, but Kurt's going to go back in and re-tag, and I'm going to go back and reshare. If you, for whatever reason, can't make the event tomorrow, I still want you to reach out to Kurt. I want you to go to the website. I would love for you to get involved. Remember, it's fundraising is also involvement. There's volunteer hours. There's things that you can do to help out. And so I think people get so caught up in, oh my God, well, I don't have the money. Well, your time is also very precious, and it's very important to organizations like this for you to go out and support them.
Just by showing up, I vowed to never walk alone again. And if one of you shows up, then we've doubled the numbers from the first year.
I love that.
So, somebody asked me what defines a successful event. And I could tell you, we'd have X thousands of people there. We'd have hundreds of thousands of dollars raised. We create a nationwide movement, right here out of Central Florida that engages the community to the American Legion mission, which is veterans serving veterans, but engaging the community to solve veteran issues.
Right.
But to me, a success is that if I can take one individual and give them hope again, where they turn their direction towards getting the help they need, then that's a success. I
love it. All right. Thank you, Kurt, guys, for being on the show. We love you guys. Reach out, WGAL63.org. The event's tomorrow. You don't want to miss out on it. It's going to be amazing. Get involved. Support your vets. We need to support our veterans.
Well, Ted, I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything you do with this.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service. I mean that. So we love you guys. We'll be back later on.